This conference will now be recorded.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everybody. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We had one meeting last month, so the minutes were from the regular meeting of July 8th, 2025, copies of which have been given to everybody. So could I have a motion to accept? Tim makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Tina seconds. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. All right, opposed? Carried. Okay, reports from the departments. We have a written water report from Eddie. There's no highway department report this month. Let's bear know something. So the water report for 8/12/2025 for District 1, they produced 4,462,700 gallons. The daily average was 194,000 gallons. We replaced meters and readers. He flushed the hydrants. He cleaned the PCH tank, and he continues to do the samples as required. The gallons to white face was 49,500. The daily average is 1,600. I suppose one question I'll have for Ed when we next have a chance is to ask him how the KOA, how things were going with the KOA and its usage this summer. Now that it's back open, but I'll certainly ask him about that to make sure it's put in any report that comes forward. So may I have a motion to accept this report, please? Is there a second? I'll second. Okay. Parks. Codes. We have a written report from Doug. The new non-building permits issued. He collected $3,217 in fees. There are 54 open permits, 20+ site visits. And the short-term rental, we have 150 active permits. The fees collected to date are $28,050, and the total fees collected over the length of the short-term rental fee collection is $120,500. We have a waiting list for an STR permit. We have 2 complete, 3 incomplete applications. Also on tonight's agenda is we had a request. To do a hardship review as the board to see whether somebody should be granted relief from the cap. We don't have a procedure or a form or anything like that. We sent out a couple last year when we amended the law to create the cap. Hasn't been adopted. I'm hoping the board will at least get this person a chance to come be heard in front of it, which is what the law requires. And that is it for that. Is there a motion to accept this and be part of the record?
Is this new? Are we approving each board report now?
I'm just making them part of the record. I mean, she includes them in the back of the record now, so when I saw that, it's attached to her minutes. I think we might as well accept these as something like that. So, Darren made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Laura. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Tonight we have dog control. Trevor is here, and he can give you a report. It's been very busy for the past 3 weeks with the dog control.
You want me to go up there?
You can stand up if you like. That way everyone can hear you. Thank you.
Evening, folks. I'm Trevor Carl, your friendly neighborhood dog control officer. So July was pretty action-packed. So, I'm sorry I didn't prepare a written report, but I got.
Please, go ahead.
So, we had the dog control office had 5 calls that I had to respond to. July 8th, we had a husky running at large on 86, and we returned that dog to his home. July 14th, there was an altercation between dogs and dog owners. Essentially, both owners were given verbal warnings. One owner was found to have an unlicensed dog, and they were given a written warning to get the dog licensed. July 28th, we had a call about a stray running at large. That stray took up residence at another person's home, and that took some mutual aid with J and coordination with the SPCA. We were able to borrow a live trap and trap that dog. That dog has since been transported to the SPCA and is awaiting adoption. July 29th, we had another call about another stray down on Springfield Road. That dog was fairly easily taken in and transported to SPCA. And lastly, the July 29th, that evening, there was a dog running at large, and that dog was known to be, I knew the owner, so that dog was returned. That's
Thank you.
after the month of July. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I can just sort of fill in. So we are one of the fewer towns that has an actual contract with the Westport SC, Humane Society. I mentioned this a number of times. I've sat on the Essex County Dog Task Force because we don't have enough shelter space for the dogs within the county. We don't have very many veterinarians inside the county. And so occasionally, like only a couple weeks ago, the town of Elizabethtown had basically a dog catastrophe where they went in and they found 10 starving dogs in bad shape. And the town supervisor scrambled very hard to find vets going to Vermont and things like that. And the law requires towns to pay for it. It's a bit of a challenge when you have dogs who are in bad shape. It's the town's responsibility to shelter, care for the dog. And the owners are sometimes, it's difficult to get an owner to, you have to get the courts involved and things like that. So it's a bit of a process. So the town of Elizabethtown is looking at tens of thousands of dollars in dog charges. We've been very fortunate. Trevor works very hard and is very responsive. And the 3 dogs, we have 3 dogs right now and at Westport, for which they charge us a flat fee of $350. One dog, the idea is I'm going to talk to the owner, Trevor talk to the owner, and if the owner agrees that the people in Westport are optimistic that the dog is scared and shows a lot of teeth and could be dangerous, but if the owner wishes to surrender the dog to the Westport people, they'll be happy to take the dog over. So we have to sort of conclude that part. The other dog was just surrendered. It was picked up by a sheriff's deputy, taken to the Westport. Somebody in town the dog had, somehow or other, the dog had to go, and the sheriff's deputy is the one who came and did that. And the third dog that he was just talking about was easier to pick up, has a microchip in it. So they've scanned it, and they know that the person is actually, in training and service in California right now. And it's kind of complicated because, family members from Long Island don't want to come pick up the dog and things like that. So we're sort of in a bind. But in the meantime, it's the town's responsibility to take care of these dogs in the interim. So that's really kind of, We've, a year ago, we had the dangerous dogs in the first couple months. Those are challenging. What the county's decided to do is help build. The New York State has new design and engineering requirements for these shelters. They have to have air conditioning and heating and potable water, and they have to be designed. So the county is going to try to purchase sort of three-unit prefabs and locate them at various spots so that Trevor, when he picks up a dog, and can't immediately find it, owner, or what to do with it, and they don't have any room in Westport, Trevor can take the dog to these places so that they can be sheltered, and then we'll agree to share the expense of how to maintain them in the meantime while we try to find the owner. Dangerous dogs are a whole different kind of kettle of fish, and the county's trying to build a larger kennel with dangerous dog capacity in the town of Mariah. And so we would be able to go to Mariah if we picked up a dangerous dog here and they're looking to take it someplace. This is the real challenge for the county. And Wilmington, knock on wood, at any moment without any real warning, we may be in a dog situation like Elizabethtown. And it is a big bill for the town. And so we're trying our best to, thank you, Trevor. I thought you did very well with this situation. And we're going to try, do our best to find places for the dogs to go.
We'll keep on keeping on.
Thank you.
I'll give you two things. Number one, please, license your dog. Let your friends to license their dog. Let your friends' friends to license their dog. It's a lot. Gotta license the dog. Rabies is always fatal. So. And number two, when you license the dog, you get that tag. And please put identification on the dog. And I will never transport a dog that has identification. It's the last thing I want to do. So, thank you.
Does anybody on the board have anything for Trevor?
I just got one question. So one of those dogs, I think it was maybe on the 28th or 29th, we had quite an issue to try to get it into the kennel.
Yes.
What is our procedure? So say they couldn't take the dog and we had to keep the dog for 3 days. What's our procedure for taking care of the dog? I mean,
so our procedure is that we can keep the dog for up to, I believe, 48 hours.
and where do we keep it?
We have designated location with the highway department or the park department where we can keep.
And we have cages and all of that stuff. Okay.
Parks Department of Wilmington or Jay?
Of Wilmington. If that was full, we have an amicable mutual aid with Town of Jay. They have location as well. But again, on grass tax, past 48 hours, we have to find shelters until this municipal shelter is open. We'd have to find another shelter to take it.
Okay. Just so we knew, like.
In the future.
Sure.
What we're.
But yeah, we have that 48-hour window on our own premises.
Perfect.
When you said municipal shelter, you mean the county shelter, right?
I'm sorry, yeah. County shelters.
As far as the municipal shelter, how many spaces, how many dogs can it hold?
So the models that we're looking at, I believe, has 3 kennels.
Well, there'll be 3 kennels. The idea is Jay, Keene, and Wilmington would share 3 spots, probably located in Upper Janier or its firehouse. We don't need the 3. If Jay has picked up 2 and there's only 1 spot left and we have 2 dogs, we would agree with Willsboro, who has a set of 3. So the county is going to locate, it's like 5 of these 3 units at various locations. And we all sort of agree that the idea is that a town that's in a pinch needs a place to shelter a dog that it has, will be able to go there and find a space. Some of the supervisors, like Town of Lewis, for example, A lot of the problems he has is people will abandon their dogs at the rest areas on Route 87. So he spent many years, this is his last year, driving around trying to find places for the dogs. It's a place in Clinton County. You'll go down to Albany if they have to. So the county's idea is it won't solve all the problems, but for your basic situation which Trevor faced the past couple of weeks, it's a solution that we can place them because the Westport SCPA, they just ran up the lifeline. They don't have enough space, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough room. They want to be able to help, but they got totally overwhelmed a couple of years ago with 30 dogs from Crown Point. So that became a problem.
So is that after the complete number?
If we have those spaces, that's where we would take the dog.
Yeah, so that kennel that's at the park department is like the last.
That's
I
it.
used it on the local dog that I knew who the owner was on the 29th, well, just overnight, but I picked the dog at 11 at night, and I returned it to the owner at 7 o'clock the next morning. But yeah, that kennel that's in the park department is the very last resort, like as far as not being able to get to Westport or in Kicker going ahead. If I couldn't have space in the county kennel. Sure.
Who staffs the one at the park department and then who staffs the one at the county?
Those haven't been decided yet. What happens is, so the cost, right? So the county will pay the capital cost of building these places. The towns would share the cost of doing the pad and running the utilities. So this is to get them set up. Right now, our dog control officer, Trevor, is also the dog control officer in J. So we're sharing the cost of Trevor's wages and expenses. And there is a backup dog control officer from the town of J. So it's an agreement between Wilmington and J, how to spread the cost of, getting the feed over there, who's going to do the watering and things like, they'll drop off water. We haven't got them yet, but that's sort of the vision. Thank you, Trevor.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, reports from board members. Good.
Thank you all for coming. Favor, I'd like to express my condolences, and I'm sure the whole board's condolences on the death of your father recently.
Thank you.
Necessary to say much more than that, but I'm sure we all feel the same way.
Thank you.
Anyone would like to? Does everyone or anyone have a copy of the senior citizen property tax exemption sliding scale document that I emailed? Does anyone?
It's not online.
Okay. Anyone has a copy? Okay, I thought that might be the case. Amy, would you like to address the board, and I can go make 5 photocopies of this document? You want to address the board tonight, right? You want us to approve some money? So I'd like to cede the floor to Amy for.
You like the courtesy of the floor.
I'd like to.
That's what that is. I will extend the courtesy of the floor. Go ahead.
So the youth committee have met in the past couple months talking about trying to because we weren't able to summer program for the kids in the summer family. Talked about a few different places in town for bordering towns, like places to go check out. Sana's workshop, Stable Chasm, High Falls Forge, and we decided on High Falls Forge, and we would like to pay for the kids and their parents to have a family day on August 24th at High Falls Forge. And they said they were willing to invoice Nicole. She said that would be the best way to pay through the youth, I know there's,
Yeah, I mean, we have budgeted funds under the youth programs for, right now we've, as of the end of June, July, we had youth BS. We budgeted 10,000 and we still have probably 8,000 left in that. And then also under the contract expenses, we budgeted 7 and we have 3,000.
well, we have about 20,000 in our account that we.
Well, I'm gonna quibble with you about this, okay? That is a town account. That is, it's in the town account, it's a separate thing. And when I spoke to the office of the controller, they didn't like that situation. They asked me to freeze it, okay? Because if it's your funds, we're not in the business to being trustees over your funds. If it's our funds, then it's in the wrong account. It should be moved into our general fund. So in April, when I asked, after I met with the guys at the controller's office and I asked them this directly, they were shocked that we had that much money in a town account over which we may have been the trustee for. And this is something I expressed a concern about when I first met with you in January 2024, is that we're not a bank as a town and we're not really responsible for holding other people's money. And I've been willing to credit you and the youth center for being the owners of all that money. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming that. But at the same time, it got moved into an account that is under the town's EIN and for which Tina and I are the only signatories. So they suggested I don't touch it and I hire an attorney. So I put a freeze on it. I don't want to use that money. We can use it from budgeted funds. And next year you guys can figure out what to do
So
with it.
what would be really the difference if you put it in the general fund and then just have that line as, this is what, every year,
We could do it as a reserve account, yes.
something like that. I mean, this is an account we started. This has been a town account forever. So it's not something we started. This has always been there.
Oh, I understand. But it sounds to me that some of the money is raised by the youth center. And, in a typical situation, you would have your own account and you have your own fundraising. And we would have a budget and a fundraiser. But when I came in, the two signatories on the account were Rarely and Nicole, which is totally improper. It should be the supervisor and the deputy supervisor. So we changed that. I'm sorry, Mindy.
Just to the point, towns municipal governments used to be able to have trust and agency accounts, which is what that is. 2 years ago, the comptroller's office got rid of them, and you're supposed to move the funds out of a TNA account into a segregated account, and I'm sure that's what the comptroller was
Yeah,
talking about.
Exactly.
but it's also if it's their money,
Right,
holding it in trust, we'd like to verify what part of it is their money. Because they would be able to freely do with whatever their money they want to do as any
Well,
trustee.
this is not the first time that this has been brought up.
Yeah.
Even when Roy was here, we had said numerous times for them to start their own account and get their own EIN number to solve this problem, and it hasn't been done to date.
When we just went through the audit, we had talked about it when we came back on ours, that they asked us, that with ours, with Michigan, they need to have their own account. It needs to be separated, and we have expressed that as well. They need to get their own EIN, their own checking, and separate it from ours. So we've discussed this numerous times, and that's exactly what needs to happen. And we as a board have discussed this numerous times.
Yeah, so
as
anyway,
well.
so the funds are just frozen. I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
You have your hand up first. I think we're putting a lot of ownership on a volunteer group, and I think this is ridiculous. I mean, if these funds were raised for years on end from this group to go into a town account, I don't see why Amy's suggestion that these monies go into a reserve or be part of that's what you're saying essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was always town. We just got together to help. And
Right.
to help volunteer and create. more things.
Absolutely.
We're not trying to take anything over. We're not trying to become our own business. We're not trying
Right.
to do anything like that. This has always been the town's thing. We're just helping put more money in. There's been a lot of donations from residents in the town with bottles, and it's not just raise money, this is donations from the residents of the town, giving money to the youth to do things. This was always a town thing. It always has been a town thing.
Sorry, for a sec, Tim first and then Paul.
Just to add on to what Laura said, this is also putting a burden of a very large amount of paperwork on a very, very small volunteer group that has already invested a ton of time and effort. And the numbers in this group are not increasing, they're diminishing. So I'm afraid that putting another burden on this group will result not in the creation of a flourishing independent entity, but in the creation of nothing.
Paul.
I can give you a little bit of back history on prior youth organizational functionality. I was the treasurer up until the early 2000s. When I relinquished that position, turned the funds over to the town because my children were no longer active in that program offering. The numbers were declining. There was a lack of interest from the parental arena. So the money came back to the town to be held until another board stepped up and decided that they wanted to be active in pursuing the organization on their own platform. Randy was the pilot or the town supervisor at that time. Do you remember that, Michelle? Thank you.
It's right there.
Well, I mean, I don't think there may be a misunderstanding. The town's not trying to take this money. Basically, we're trying to clean it up for comptroller purposes. And the two options are either get their own EIN, or we have to put it in a town reserve account, and then they come to us, just like they are now, and ask for us to pay something out of that money.
Right.
We're not trying to steal their money.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to.
Exactly. People are making it into a much bigger issue than it really is.
I'm not asking to have access to the money. I always ask for permission. But if the town doesn't want to do this, then just let me know, because I think we've been fighting this battle for years. And everyone's getting tired of, trying to fight for the kids around here. I know I am.
But no, we need to have youth commission. We need to build the youth commission. And if we're gonna do another summer program next year, then that's what we need to look for.
Yeah,
So having that.
So it's simply done then. If your board is now claiming that they've got to disclaim any interest that they may have had to the balance that's in that account and allow the town to move that into a reserve account.
I mean, it doesn't matter where it goes, because we don't have access to it anyway. We never have, we never will. So, I mean, it's the town's money.
I understand, but I spent some time people wanting to come in and review their bank statements, this board, your board, right? Where are the bank statements? Let's go over the bank statements. It hasn't been just this kind of, there's been no interest. There's been involvement by your board to look and see if those bank accounts, and what the balance is.
We do ask for the statements once a month, just to see what's been in and what's.
Okay, but that's still amount of control. So we're going to eliminate that. We'll move that into a reserve account, and any donations for the youth commission will go into the reserve account, where you can close that extra checking account down.
Which has already happened anyway.
No, it hasn't. No, I froze it because they told me to.
Will the youth commission board get monthly statements about the monies that are available to them to do youth commission things, or will it have to come?
Why?
Because it's their money.
That's the question, Randy. Is it?
Related to, so if it's put aside in reserve for them, should they not know what's available to them to be able to do things for the youth?
For planning. That's all.
For planning. Yeah, for planning.
Well, that money, unless they spend it, it'll be there month after month after month.
Well, no, because it builds, because residents donate to it every month, and then there's bottles.
On our financial report that we get every month, the board liaison that's representative to the youth center should have that amount and be very easily able to say, all right, this is what's in that account this month, just like we have in our board packets this month. We have this sheet that has every New York class account with every account balance that's in it. our board liaison for the youth center would be able to provide this every single month.
Then that works. Yeah, we're gonna need a treasurer then, but. I mean, I'm not fighting for that. I just want to have a family day on August 24th for the kids to go to the High Falls Forge and support our local businesses and see what our town has to offer. That's all.
And I agree, then I'll make a motion that we support that and approve for her to have the family day at the High Falls Forge.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Is that a line item in this document currently?
No.
Or will that, it'll be in the future?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
thank you, Amy.
Oh, can we have a vote, please? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I have to do roll call, right?
Yes, it's money. Go ahead, roll
How
call.
much did she ask for?
She doesn't know.
We're gonna invoice
Okay,
town directly, based upon admission.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Tina,
Yes.
David.
Yep.
Karen,
Thank you.
John, do you have the senior citizen property tax exemption?
they were passing around.
Oh, sorry.
They got stopped.
Thanks. So New York State law allows the towns to help senior citizens with incomes below a certain amount by giving them a break on their property taxes. And the towns can go up fairly high. Well, it's not really ever that high, but there are towns in Essex County currently that go up considerably higher for the maximum income to give the seniors a break. Willsboro goes up to a little over 44,000, if I'm understanding this document correctly. Wilmington, currently the max to get a 5% break on your property taxes, the maximum annual income is a little over 33,000. So the past few months, we've been talking about going up across the board by either 5,000 or 10,000. Supervisor Smith asked me to create a document showing what both of those increases would do, and that's the document that we're looking at now.
Do you have any suggestions? What do you think?
Well, for the public, going up by 5,000 would bring the maximum annual income to 38,000, a little over 38,000, and going up by 10,000 would bring it to 43,000, 43,400. I would be okay with either. My instinct is, because the problem, I mean, we all want to do this, we all want to go up to the maximum, because as I said, the maximum is not extremely high. The problem is that when you relieve one group of the property tax burden, it pushes it onto other groups. So my recommendation, I think, at this point would be to go up by 5,000, but I would also be willing to go up by 10.
Any questions from board members about it? Any discussion? Okay.
I'd be willing to do the 5,000 just for, at this point, we don't know the ramifications and the increase on other groups and what this difference would really mean to the other groups. So I think, at least at this time, I'd only be in favor of 5,000, and we can revisit it in the future.
That's a discussion.
Shocking consensus.
Three.
Laura, do you have an opinion on
I think it's great. I highly recommend it. I think it's
that? Okay.
perfect.
So now I'm going to mention this now on behalf of Don. So we're going to probably make a motion to accept something like the change in the senior citizen exemption to be increased by 5,000 was the sliding scale. Donna's asked because of our last meeting, we do a lot of motions sort of on the fly, and it's difficult for the clerk to record these accurately, and they become part of the minutes. So the request is that we try our best to get these motions in writing and submit it in a way so that we have a good record of what we actually resolved as a board. This may be an example of if we could put that in sort of the form, if we've all sort of tentatively agreed that the $5,000 seems appropriate, that we put it in the form of the draft changes that were submitted before and then given to the board to review and approve at its next meeting. So that we would have it as a resolution then. So, okay, so that's the suggestion for that one. Thank you, Tim.
Just for the public, going up by 5,000, again, if I'm understanding this document from the county correctly, going up by 5,000 will put us second highest in the county. So I think it's a step in the right direction without too much of a step, and I agree, we'll reevaluate and see. Last month, well, for the past year, we've been talking about facility use agreement. The town board adopted a facility use agreement in 2023 that was never implemented. So what we've decided to do is to just hopefully now implement the form that the previous board adopted. And the only material change to that form is a $100 fee for groups that charge admission or have another revenue generating component or require town labor. So I took the previous form, and I did email this around a couple of hours ago. I took the previous form. Favor doesn't like, the previous form had the word lease in it, and Favor doesn't like using the word lease, so I took out that word, and I took out references to the town being the landlord and the individual or organization using the town park as the tenant, and I just changed it to individual or organization. I kept it absolutely as similar to the previous form as I possibly could while making those changes that Favor wanted to make. I added a few words to the additional terms to try to, which is section 6, to try to give the town a little more protection from damages, accidents, except lawsuits, essentially, claims. And that's what I've done.
Okay, we'll review it.
So I have no problem with it, Tim. It's basically what we approved before. The only thing I think that should be put on here additionally is there's no phone number of the person. We should have a spot for a phone number because we need a point of contact if something happens that day.
Yep. I agree. Please tell me anything that any board members think should be added. Favor, you provided us with 3 model use agreements. If there's anything in those that would be important to have in here, I think
Or not.
it would be positive to add it.
Thank you.
Check all that reply.
Go ahead.
Overtime, town overtime for staff. I thought at the last meeting you decided that you weren't going to do that. It was going to come out of beautification funds.
Right. I only included that because it's on the previous form. I didn't make that up.
No, I know you didn't. I know it was on the previous form.
Yep.
I'm just saying, you were talking about changes,
That's what
the
we were
phone
just talking
number,
about.
and then the overtime are both changes that should be made.
We didn't negate that we are taking overtime out of the,
You didn't vote on it, but you all agreed on it.
Well,
No, there wasn't a resolution. You're right. There was no resolution. There was a verbal conversation.
I think we made that resolution 2 or 3 years ago, and again, I don't know if it was ever actually implemented.
But this is for the leasee to pay the overtime, not to be taken out of beautification. That's the difference.
Yes, yep.
So I agree with you, Tim, is yes, we agreed to pay overtime out of the SDR bed tax money.
Yep.
But it's not as far as the leasee paying it.
You know, in theory, there could be an event that a future town board wants to shift the cost of the overtime onto the event organizer rather than the property taxpayers. Which I know is, in theory, not necessarily the property taxpayers because it's, in theory, coming from bed tax money. However, at the end of the year, all the leftover bed tax money goes into the general fund. So,
Not quite.
well, that's what's happened. Past.
I mean, that's a, I'm sorry, go ahead.
In theory, at that time, we should do another form. At that time, a new form should be done, then, if that's what we're gonna do at that time.
You guys
At
want
this
to
time, we
take,
need to agree on the form that we agreed on to.
I mean, the only thing I'll say, and this is going to be a rare, people are going to probably roll their eyes. I agree with Tim. Leaving it in there is not going to hurt anything because it says check all that apply. If it doesn't apply, then we don't check that box.
Okay.
so is this form now enacted?
Now,
I mean-
you guys pass a resolution, accepting
I-
this form.
I'll make the motion. I'll add the phone number.
You mind we do this on the fly? We don't have to write it down, Ed? We could do this on the
I
fly?
think I can probably handle this
Okay,
one. It shouldn't
okay.
be too confusing.
Okay.
We're not talking about anything else at the same time.
I'll second that.
All right, so my comment in terms of discussion is the last sentence of the additional terms. Typically, your insurance company likes to see $1 million per incident, 2 million aggregate. They have special kind of language that they like. And I just say that if we make that change to that particular line, then that would be my suggestion.
Great. Good.
Couldn't we just leave that out because we have to have them sign that? We already proved an indemnification
Yeah.
resolution.
Yeah, but indemnification it won't make our insurance company happy. Indemnification just means I'm agreed that I'll pay you if I'll be the one paying if somebody gets injured and they bring a lawsuit against the organizer. Then the indemnification is, well, we agree that if there's a judgment against you and the organizer, we'll pay your bills. Insurance policies are there to cover those things. So our insurance company likes to see these things in all of the permit applications, and people want to use town property.
So I'm happy to add that. Will you send it to me so I can?
Sure.
Okay. It's a matter of cutting and pasting, which.
Right.
I'm an
Okay,
expert
guys,
at
I'm
that.
gonna read you the resolution, and you can decide if you want anything changed or.
Can I had one other thought. That this is just a thought that it's not on the previous form. Should we have the parks superintendent sign this as well? Print name and sign. Okay. Because the park superintendent is involved with a lot of the events, and I think it might be positive to have that person.
Well, you
In
can
the
make
loop.
sure he got a copy of it.
He doesn't really have any authority, so his signature really wouldn't mean anything. It's only the supervisor
Yeah.
that means anything.
Yeah, it's more just a matter of keeping him looped in on everything that's going on, and if he had any concerns, he could express them to the supervisor before the event was agreed upon.
Who actually keeps the calendar?
Chris had favor and that little thing sort of above by the copy machine.
So do you book all the dates? If somebody wants to book something?
Oh, yeah, I mean, listen, last year, I mean, the people who book tend to be the Visitors Bureau, so they came in and told us what the dates were that they were expecting, helping to use. Then we have Ride to the River, and he came in and told us the dates he likes
Okay.
to do that. Music Fest falls on the same date.
I'm just looking,
Bike
so I
fest.
didn't know if Carissa could sign this or if you actually had to
Oh,
sign
no,
this.
supervisor.
Okay.
It's who's in charge of the calendar.
Okay.
Whether
That's what I was
whether
asking.
the fee's been paid and everything's copacetic.
The
Okay.
fees have to go through the clerk's office, if I
Yes,
understand my training right.
that's correct.
So you guys would do it, this part, and like Doug gives me his paperwork, you give me that paperwork, and I just enter it in the computer system?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, yeah, are we ready for me to tell you what I came up with?
Anything else? No. Okay, go ahead.
Resolve to accept the new lease agreement with the approved changes of adding a phone number and the change to the insurance.
The use agreement. Facility use agreement, not lease.
Yes, it's used.
You don't like these.
Yes. Okay, Tim made it.
Second, Laura.
So, yeah, second, it's Laura, and the discussion. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
That's all I have for this month. Thank you again for coming.
All right, Darren.
My first thing is kind of just informational. As everybody knows, it's extremely dry out there. I was the water superintendent for Wilmington for 5 years. We've never hit the situation where we've actually had to put a ban on water, but I do ask everybody to conserve because it is extremely dry, and if we're using a bunch of water watering lawns, I don't want us to get to the point where we actually have to implement a ban. So I think it's just a good idea as an informational thing to put that out there. Please ask people to conserve, and be mindful about their water usage. Just a little update on Music Fest. That went well. I was on that committee as well. We had a really good turnout. Everybody seemed like they enjoyed the night. We were able to secure dumpsters and stuff this year, so there should have been minimal work for the Parks Department as far as cleanup, other than helping set up the tents and a few things like that. We had already talked about dogs, and I wanted to make sure that we had some kennel areas in town with that 48 hours, but Trevor kind of cleared up that, so that seems to be taken care of. The last thing that I want to do is I promised during budget time that I would give my raise back to the town of Wilmington. So this is a check for $300. This covers the next 3 events in Wilmington, which is the Music Fest, the Bike Fest, and the Festival of Colors. I strongly voiced my opinion when we have a visitors bureau in town and we have a marketing contract with them that we're charging them to put events on in Wilmington when that's the very thing that we have a contract for them to do. So I felt that I will give my money back in my raise to cover those events in their $100 facility use fee moving forward. So that should take care of us for the rest of the events that were planned for this year.
Thank you.
So,
No applause? No applause. I should mention as well, can I just,
No, wait a minute, please,
okay,
please, let's just
it's
move
a
on.
positive thing, it's not,
It's all right.
Okay.
Let's just move on with the
Okay.
meeting.
all right.
Thank you. All right, you finished, Darren?
that's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Tina?
Laura?
Oh, Laura, pardon. Sorry, Laura.
No problem. I just, I reached out to Caitlin Wargo from the Roots group, and I was still under the assumption that there was still the possibility of the townhomes, but she reassured me that we're going into the single-family homes. So I just wanted to reassure the public because I know that that's still being talked about as far as whether or not we're doing the townhomes or the single-family homes. So the goal is still 5 or 6 single-family homes. And I'm sure Favor will touch on that at some point, but I had gotten some questions from people, so I just wanted to make a statement on that. And then I can bring this up with, I can't even keep up. Who's doing the website?
Carissa?
Okay, all right. Could you Ask her to put attachments to because the last time the attachments were put on was in April.
Okay.
Not just to the minutes, but so people can see what we're going to be discussing.
The board docs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's partially my fault.
And then just for the public to know,
My fault.
Stable Freshwater Center is working on a program called Streamwise, which provides resources to people who are on or around the Stable watershed. And they have their office near the Adirondack Chocolates, but you can talk to them about that. There's also an email. So if you are part of the watershed or on the Stable, you can reach out to them and they will help you they have resources to help you with yard protection, stream protection, and then flood evaluation, like how that you are if you're in a floodplain or what your flood risk is. So I believe that that's what the purpose of this Streamwise is, and it's not just the river, it's the watersheds into the river. But I have the email, also you can go there, but it's marque@austablecenter.org, and that is for them to do a free assessment, so you can email them. That's the end of my short report.
Tina.
I have a question for you, Laura.
So hold on. Okay. Go ahead with your question, but wait till you be recognized, please. Okay, go ahead.
People who are on land that have a tributary to
That stream,
the stream,
yeah.
is there a cost involved?
I believe it's a free assessment. They would have more information, but that's my takeaway from the information. Yeah.
Tina.
So we have talked about the memory wall, the walkway. We really didn't decide on what we were doing and stuff. Several town residents had expressed maybe using the bridge as a type of memory part. So I talked to a couple different places that do plaques, and they can do like gold with black, and they said you put them on something like our bridge with construction adhesive. And you can do like a 3x6, 3x7, or whatever size you want. They'd run like $12 to $18 per plaque. So if we want to discuss that in the future, or I can get one to see what they look like as a sample, or we can go get a little bigger. But I'll get one to see just to see what it looks like for a sample to start next month's meeting, and then go from there. And then we can decide if we still want to do a walkway or
Just a quick question for you on that, Tina. Before we say that we're going to put them on the bridge, we should check with the state because it's technically a state bridge, so we don't want to attach anything before we attach something to it. That was my only comment on it. Thank you.
He wants to do something with his bridge.
Are you talking about the sidewalk or the bridge itself?
Well, actually, I was talking about the bridge, because that's what they've asked, but that might be another alternative, or we can do, those just thoughts that we were throwing around, so I just called them the other day and said, okay, what do we have for engraving purposes? So even if it's something else that we do it with, that we're going to engrave it and put it on something, at least we know what a plaque's going to run. So we'll get at least a sample of that to see what it's going to run, and we'll see if it's even something that we like, that type of a plaque. At least get it started. Then we'll decide if not, maybe about the brick, like they did in our safe, we'll get in a direction to see which way we're going to go. The commission, we talked about their account. Library report. They had Lena the Lizard. That was a huge success. They had approximately 80 children and adults to come see and touch the lizards, the snakes, and the sloth. They had a great time. The third Thursday evening programs will return in September. Presentation of the current planning or scheduling is underway. There are no fuss book club. That's going to start on Thursdays from 12 to 1:30. Yeah, stop in and see Sam to get the details on that. They started their 2026 budget request and they've been submitted to the town. Dog control we talked about, and that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. My report's pretty brief since I did most of the talking during the dog stuff. I did meet a couple weeks ago at Whiteface in ahead of the mountain bike event. They've talked about, the number of people, they're going to have a shuttle. There's going to be parking. It's a private. If people in Wilmington wanted to put a place for visitors to park during the event, there'll be shuttle pickup locations somewhat nearby, so you can judge your lot to where the shuttle would pick them up. They're trying. They have a little bit of a village down at the bottom where trying to invite local businesses. I haven't really followed up what it was a couple of weeks ago. So, and then so the other thing that they'd like to discuss with us is, and I didn't put it on this agenda, but it's the permission to use our ballpark field for evacuation helicopters. So that if somebody gets seriously injured and needs to be evacuated, they would transport that person to our ball field for where the life flight helicopter would be able to take them out. They also talked about, and I mentioned this to Charlie in passing, starting they need an extra ambulance, so we'll probably follow the same, if the fire district agrees, follow the same rules that they use during winter time for the Wilmington ambulance service, being available to transport and help during this event, and then trying to get next year's contract ready to go as well. And that was a couple weeks ago, and I haven't really followed up, so that was my report. Thank you.
I have one more thing to say.
Tina has one more thing to say.
I just want to thank everybody who supported the volunteer fire department with the raffle we just had. It was a huge success. We did really well, and I just want to thank everybody for their support. We really appreciate it. It really helps out with everything that we need to buy for supplies and equipment. So thank you.
Thank you. Charlie.
Just to make everybody aware, we only have one ambulance right now.
Okay. I heard that. So the new business resolutions, I had a request from the Wilmington Bike Fest for permission to the use of the Hardy Road for their Bike Fest Kids event. I've also put in an order for the special signs for Hardy Road with the county to alert drivers that there is a youth bike race going. That is like, I don't really have my calendar, but it'd be like August 31st? 31st. Thank you, Michelle. So they're asking for permission for them to use the Hardy Road for that race on the 31st. So they have a resolution to grant that permission.
I'll make it.
Aaron, is there a second? Tina, any discussion or questions?
We already approved the use of the park as well.
Yeah.
Of course, they can use it. Is it going to be one-way traffic or anything like that? It's going to impact.
I don't think they closed the road. I just think they put drivers on alert that there are a bunch of kids riding on their bikes over it. So it isn't the same as Ironman where there's road closes. Thank you. All right. Any more questions or discussions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'd like to, it's not on the agenda, but make a motion to allow our town park to be used as a medical evacuation center by order during the World Cup downhill bike race that occurs in October. I'll make sure Order has provided us with their proof of their insurance the same way we provide them proof of our insurance for the ambulance. I think we need a resolution along those lines.
I'll make it.
Second. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Discussion and action procedure for the hardship review. Does anyone have any thoughts on what we should do with that?
I do.
Okay.
I meant to mention it in my report. I made amendments to your original exemption law or resolution.
Okay.
I think it should be I think we should relinquish control to the zoning board of appeals. It's in their wheelhouse. It is under their jurisdiction, and that's my suggestion. And included in that is my resolution as well as the permit and then the zoning use test that they would have to fill out, which is all of the things that you were requesting.
Okay, so this is submitted. I guess we'll review it and try to put it on the agenda for action. Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
So that handles that one. Then the last thing I put on was the review of the proposed zoning ordinance changes. What would you like to do with that form?
Pass them and set a public hearing.
So, pass them as is, set a public hearing, or have attorneys review it. And have them reviewed and approved by the APA.
These have all been approved by attorneys. One's from the previous North Elba Code. Some are from the previous North Elba Code. Another is from the previous Wilmington Land Use Code. So they have been reviewed by attorneys. And I mean, they've been upheld in court, some of them, in a landmark case. So obviously they do need to be reviewed by attorneys, but I think we could we could do the public hearing first.
Any other board comment?
Just so the public knows, because some of the public is new here, Tim, can you just give a very brief overview of the 4 changes?
Yes. Yes, I would be glad to. Thanks. Okay, there's 3 sections to this local law that I've drafted. The first 2 sections are basically boilerplate. The third section was inspired by the proposed Dollar General, but it is not only about Dollar General. I mean, Wilmington has a lot of, you could call it development pressure or natural development. A big box store was interested in Wilmington in the recent past, and I suspect it's only a matter of time before another one is interested in Wilmington. My sense is that the community was not wildly in favor, was far from being wildly in favor of the Dollar General. The community was strongly opposed. So to try to be proactive, I drafted this proposed amendment to the zoning code, limiting retail establishments to 8,000 square feet of floor area, which, as Carl knows, is actually still pretty big. And like a strip mall is limited to 40,000 square feet of area, which again is vast. And these 2, we have been talking about this for years, and these two clauses were reviewed by the consultants from Elon Consulting, who helped the town draft our current zoning code. And then the third part of the first amendment is drawn directly from a previous North Elba land use code, section 3 of clause 3 of section 3. Section 4 again is directly drawn from the previous North Elba land use code. And this is the section of the previous North Elba land use code that the court relied on and emphasized in upholding the North Elba Planning Board's decision in the, believe it or not, landmark case of Town of North Elba Planning Board v. Walmart, which is a case that is known among people who study land use in New York State. And section 5 is the same. Another section that the judge another section from the previous North Elba Land Use Code that the judge relied on in upholding the North Elba Planning Board's decision denying Walmart's application for I believe, a conditional use permit. That's the older language. Now we call them special use permits, but they're the same thing. My understanding is that they're synonymous. And then section 6 is drawn from the 1987 Wilmington Land Use Code, and that relates to visual impact screening and setbacks. And if we had this section on the books, the things that people object to so strongly about some of the recent commercial developments in Wilmington, these objections, these problems would not exist. This visual impact that people are concerned with would not exist. So if we had passed this 2 years ago, these problems would not exist. So we should pass it now so that there aren't more problems 2 years from now. Section 7, I'm prepared to waive. To me, that's the least important, and it generated a lot of discussion. And then sections 8 and 9, again, are boilerplate.
Go ahead, David. No, that's the board discussion. Yeah.
I'm assuming section 7 was trash cans.
Section 7,
Dumpsters was the
that was the
dumpster can.
that's the
Okay.
dumpsters.
Yep, that's what I know, the dumpster.
Any board comment?
I like section 7, obviously, since it's in this document I'm proposing, but I would really like to move this forward. And if we're going to get hung up on that section, I'm certainly prepared to wait.
Tina, any comment? Okay, I'm just gonna go around each board member can talk. Okay. Darren, do you have any comments, suggestions, whatever?
I understand the purpose of what Tim is trying to do, and some of the language in there, I feel, is put in there and the reason that it's put in there is it's put in there intentionally by towns. And basically what it allows a town to do is any project that they don't like, or any project that doesn't fit the town of Wilmington, it gives them automatic grounds to refuse it. As a property owner, a taxpayer, a business owner, I don't always feel that you should have automatic grounds just to refuse because you don't like the looks of something. It's still America, and although Tim may not like the looks of something, or Faber does not like the looks of something, maybe 10 other people do approve of the looks of it. So I don't always feel that the government having control and saying, we don't like the looks of that, so we're going to deny your project, is a good thing. As far as the square footage, I'll get behind that with the understanding that it's for retail only and not something like a hotel or business that could possibly increase tourism or revenue in Wilmington, because I don't feel that us limiting ourselves and having to ask for a variance every single time a business went in just because they're over a square footage is necessarily a good thing for the same way. We don't like the looks of that business, or that's not the business that Wilmington chooses to accept in Wilmington, so we're automatically throwing it out based just on their square footage. If we wanted, or a hotel chain or somebody like that came to Wilmington and wanted to set up a hotel, I think that would only benefit Wilmington, the area, its employees, give jobs. So I want to make sure that it's limited to retail. So I'd want a very clear definition of what retail is, what it constitutes, before I got behind that. As far as a lot of the other language, it's, again, just boilerplate language that's used for grounds of dismissal for various projects, and I don't know if it's really needed. Our code as is has a lot of that language already in it. As far as some of the visual screening, I could probably get behind that. Again, I just feel like every law that we make needs certain exemptions, and I had discussions with several community members about this type of thing. When we have a project come in, it should maybe have exemptions, and even if the 8,000 square foot thing, and I brought up this numerous times, like Hazelton Lumber. If a lumber yard was to change hands, or if it was to shut down for 3 months and then reopen, that's a retail style business, and it would automatically be prohibited in Wilmington without a variance. And variances, as the form that Laura just gave us, are against the law, basically. So we have to ask for permission to have that variance, and it's never a given. So I'm just going to leave it there and go forward.
Laura?
Karen, I did go over this. Speak to it again. The use variance and the area variance and the special use permits run with the land and not with the owner. So that hypothetical.
It runs with the business.
It runs with the land.
It does not.
It runs.
How come every business has to come in and ask for one then?
It runs with the land. I promise you, it runs with the land. Anybody can fact check me, please do. Okay. Regarding the what you had said at the last meeting, that we did not get any feedback from any of the other board members. I have the emails from Stephanie Gates, Mike Bowman, and Jim Grant with their concerns, which I believe Tim did review. The only thing that they were really discussing was the onerous part of something being material adverse versus clearly adverse aesthetic impact. But then again, another sentence, it is said that is part of the planning process. So, you know, I really think that these should be pushed to the attorney. I think we've discussed them for months on end. This is a route. I think they're reasonable amendments, and I think an attorney would have the final say, or should have the final say.
Do you want to say something?
Just in the, I mean, yeah, it's just somewhat of a fundamental philosophical difference of, if we adopt Darren's framework for how we're looking at these issues, what is the point of having a planning board or a zoning code? The whole point of having a planning board is to create conditions, review, discuss and review impact on neighboring property owners, neighboring businesses, et cetera, on the broader community, not just on the individual property owner. And we've had a zoning code in Wilmington for 50 years that does, I mean, our previous zoning code was tighter, and that zoning code was enforced for 30 years. And so I just don't think that these are clauses that neighboring towns have. These are standard clauses. It's not just 3 people saying, I don't like how that looks. The North Elba Planning Board, I mean, it's a pretty, I have the document here, their findings of fact. I think their visual impact study, if I remember correctly, it was 15 pages, computer simulations, etc. So it's not just a few people saying, I don't like how that looks. It's a lot more than that. And if it is just a few people saying, I don't like how that